like the recording process?
Yeah, it
And
should be.
And so you can edit it all up. I mean, we're recording now, but you can edit it all up, right? Because it's better to take pauses through podcasts as opposed to like, like you can cut out the pauses, right?
I really hope so.
This thing looks pretty sweet. Like
It does look,
when it had me
so
backstage, I was like, what's going on here?
it's really cool. I've been on it a couple of times now, and I was impressed with it. I'm like, hey, like let's learn how to do this thing. We've learned other technologies, and so
Fix the hat one last time here.
Absolutely.
See,
All right,
like that looks
we'll
crooked.
go live.
Nope.
Wait, you're right. It's like backwards that way.
Okay, don't
All
touch
right.
it again. There we go. All right, let's do it.
Now I'm on screen. It's so funny. Okay, 3, 2, fun. All right, everyone. Welcome to a podcast. I'm pardon me, voice crack. I am here with Colby Kiss with Total Moving and Storage and Easy Store to discuss business and him more today on a podcast. So let's start off with that. Colby, how you doing today?
Doing great. Colby Kiss and Stephen Max, the two made up last names that we're running with here. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're very unique for sure. They're not Smith or Jones.
No. We keep it unique. A couple rock stars here for sure.
You know, it's something off of the question list as we did some prep here, but how did we first meet? It was just like business networking events or BNI? Maybe that's how we met. Chat a little bit about.
I think you and I met, through BNI connection. BNI, great business referral network out in Winnipeg here and all over North America and the world, I guess. But I think we met through BNI and then we connected and you were doing some background work with a real estate corp. I don't know how far you want to go.
Oh, right. Yeah. The real estate company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, yes. Yeah. And then we did some introductions there. Yeah. Good.
Came and did a little presentation over at your brokerage there. Thank you for setting that up. We got a few good contacts and the rest is history from there. Best buds now. Cool ass names and best buds.
Absolutely. Now let's I mean, I know a little bit of the story for the folks listening elsewhere. And so basically you run a moving and storage company. Super cool. It's things that it's a necessity in many cases for different situations. I'm sure you've seen a mix of why people end up doing this thing, but what got you started? Let's go back to, we'll call it ground one or ground zero.
Go back to the day I was born. Should we do that?
Yeah. We can go back.
So I came out and I had this eye for entrepreneurship. No, not at all. I was doing firefighting. I was an industrial firefighter out in Alberta. I was a train conductor in Winnipeg here at Symington Yard for CN. Got into property management a little bit, which kind of ties in with this eventually, but was doing a bunch of stuff, loved my jobs, but I always wanted to get into sales, I don't know if I had a entrepreneur bone in my body at the time or if I knew I did, but definitely wanted to get into sales. I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing. Like to talk my face off, and as you'll probably see, and eventually found my path. I ended up renting a apartment off my now co-owner Sean Hebert, who I started talking business with. Really wanted to get a sales job going with him, look into something. I was off and on laid off with CN, so I was kind of trying to find work that was more steady. And he kind of took me on, got me running his storage facility. We got the idea of running a moving company, kind of based on my previous experience and knowledge, helping more of just being a mover for another company while I was looking for some other work. And obviously there was instant chemistry between Sean and I, instant chemistry between the storage facility that he had ran out here in Headingley, Manitoba. We're located at 21 Blumberg Trail. That's Total Storage. Oh yeah, and we got to push it in. But yeah, there's instant chemistry, right? So we were instantly able to draw jobs off of promoting Total Moving at Total Storage, kept the name similar, brother sister companies, and then my connections at my property management company that I was working with, all the top connections there kind of split off into other property management organizations around the city right as I left. So it was great because it opened up all these different assets for me to reach out to, and basically built a moving company through property managers, building promotional merchandise with them, keeping our connection strong. And to this day, we still work with, I don't even know, probably 15 to 20 of them in the city, if not more. And we just keep adding on. So it's great.
You answered the question ahead of me, but I'll just make a statement about it. It's like, I've talked about it a bit when chatting with people about they'll see we'll call it the energy online. I'm sure you got reached out to about this too, because you put yourself out there for the way you guys do marketing is awesome.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks that you need like a lot of people, and you just made the mention there of 15 to 20. I'm sure that you have more customer base off that, but you need like a core group of not that many folks to really like do good business with. Ultimately, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. We hopped in, and I would say it was a core group of 3 property managers that were really sending us work. And like by 3 property managers, I mean like 3 people actually on site watching their own buildings,
Right.
not even working our way up to the core of who we like their marketing managers, building promotional pieces with them. It was just them giving us a call saying, hey, our business needs this, or hey, our tenants need this today. Can you come help us out with it? And yeah, we answered the bell right off the hop with our little 16-footer that we had running the show back in the day. And it was a little bit of a beat up truck, and that's how it started. And now we're running 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trucks a day. It's good.
Yeah, I just saw you guys. Pardon me, had a post the other day too. You guys just got another truck. It's nice to see those things happen, because the growth, like you just alluded to, though, doesn't always start off with the big flashy stuff. It starts off with the single. You're putting duct tape. Not that it's unsafe, or whatever, but just like things aren't perfect on the inside, probably, of that truck. Just making some assumptions off things that I've done. You see landscaping and stuff. Those trucks are not perfect. It was get the work done.
Off the hop, yeah. I think we had a 2008 16-foot truck. It was all deckled out with total storage. It's great for rentals, right? Like customers coming into the storage facility. Yeah. For moving, it was it did the job. It had its latches, had its hooks for us to strap stuff down within the back of the truck, make sure customer items were safe. But the second, I think we did like 3 jobs with it, and it was like, hey, we're going to rentals, getting our 26-footers, getting the proper wall straps on the truck, and yeah, that was big for our business. It was good.
Yeah, you don't even really realize a lot of those things until I think you're doing it. Like you can plan all day long, but then as soon as someone's moving, I'll metaphorically speak about a piano. Although I'm sure that's sometimes a nightmare, that specific item. Other things are probably more common, such as everyday furniture. But what's really like the specialty for you guys there, Colby? What would be like? You mentioned property managers. Obviously, you're helping people move, and then people are like storing stuff there. What's a scenario where people are coming to you with the need for your services?
Yeah, there's a lot of property managers will help. We have kind of a niche called Blitz Moves. So we'll send 3 to 6 guys over to their new builds, help them manage like 21 move-ins in a day. But when it comes to just our bread and butter, we're just doing commercial, residential, moving. Of course, we had packing in there. Assembly is a big provider for our top line revenue as well. So I guess those are the 2 things we're definitely trying to build this year, would be our packing and assembly, but commercial and residential moving. We're helping any office that needs it. We can pretty much take on majority of any size office that needs moving in Winnipeg now. It was tough to turn down bigger jobs back in the day for that. And then when it comes to residential, anything under the sun for that. We'll move the mansions, we'll move apartments, we'll move anything to help these clients out.
That's awesome. What's your favorite part of it? Obviously, you started probably more like on the moving side. Now I'm guessing you're more like managing the thing with the co-owner. I'm not sure how to like verb that right. And that part. But what's the favorite?
It might sound made up, and it might sound like the most cliche answer, but like seeing, like, we have a very young staff, and like that's to our benefit for sure. Especially working with another thing we do is we work with some elderly, some old folks homes, I guess, right? So they get young staff in there, they love that, right? But seeing these kids develop, like some of them have started working with us from like 17 over summer to now being 20, and like taking on lead roles, taking on operations managerial roles, because we've grown as a company and need it, right? Like seeing those people develop within our company, as like Sean probably saw me develop under him, that's probably my favorite part of this whole thing. It's pretty neat. And our clientele base growing, of course. Like it gets stronger and stronger every day. And it's funny now putting out social media posts that are a bit goofy or whatever, and you got these old clients hopping on, like telling you how they can't wait for us to help them with their move that they're planning 3 years from now. And it's just, it's like, who plans that? Hey, got to believe them. So that I would say those are the 2 big things: watching the clientele base grow. Of course, now I can step back a little bit. I started on the trucks, right? So like I was moving everything. I would go. And some of my first days, I was lucky enough to have one of my best buddies, Hayden Pierce, join me. there's a Google comment where someone hops on and calls him says he's as strong as a Manitoba bison. That was probably one of the best Google reviews we got. But this guy was strong. I just tried to keep up with him. But from going to that point of running from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., our little moving truck that we had back in the day, and then going and developing proper quotes for customers till 2 a.m. To where I am now, like kind of backing up, taking a look at easy store, total storage, total moving, and managing the numbers and managing the people. It's pretty neat. I don't know. I kind of ran with that. I don't even remember what the question was, but
that's it. No, that's the whole point. We're just chatting about it, man.
For sure.
I would look down to the questions I wrote down here, and I'm like, you know what, this is gonna go
run and gun.
Well, it's the flow of it. But like, I mean, like the name is easy to remember. So on like the marketing side, you guys nailed it. You're moving and storage. You covered the two big things. It's not that complicated to understand what you guys do very quickly. I mean, I definitely appreciate that from the marketing side. It's sometimes companies name themselves like creative acronyms or different things, and it's like, what do you do? You're like, hey, like explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old because I'm having trouble keeping up. But there's that's awesome. That's your favorite part though, in terms of like the development and what like how many folks do you have working with you now on the team? What does that look like for you guys?
Well, I'll dive into it a little bit here because we operate a ton of different businesses out of our office, right? So like everyone knows my name's associated with Total Moving, Total Storage, and Easy Store. So you got our moving company, our storage facility, 450 units, some climate controlled, some not, and then our portable storage company, Easy Store. So those are the three that I'm you see my name a little bit more with, but within our office, we've got another 7 to 10 accountants and bookkeepers for companies like E Street's Property and E Street Construction. That E Street Construction recently started Discount Tired End, selling wholesale. I don't even know if wholesale is the right word, but selling discount tires. That kind of started through another company called Tire Chalet, which is tire storage for dealerships. So those are more Sean's companies, all of his babies that he's got other people running. But so lots of people working out of the office. When it comes to the storage and moving side of things, we're probably on any given day somewhere between 10 to 15 staff. And then if it's a really busy day, we're pushing 20 between office and the trucks.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. You just mentioned something there. I did not know this before, but you have 450 storage units out there. You said some climatized, some not.
Yep.
And that's a lot of units. And so
it is,
that's a lot to manage. Clearly, you need the team at that scale to be able to help manage that stuff. You're only one person. Yeah,
we've got a great business coordinator manager over at Total Storage. He also does sales coordination for me with TM. It's Kevin. He manages it pretty well. I think we're at 90. It's coming out of winter. Your percentages always dip down a little bit for storage, right? People are moving out. Right. Summer's coming, right? They're ready to throw stuff in their backyard or whatever it might be, again, save some costs. But I think in the last year and a half, we've been operating anywhere from 85 to 95 to 100%. So it's good. That's awesome. That's what you want. And the development over here in Headingley too is only gonna. We need more. For sure. We need more units, is what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Awesome. What's the plan there? You guys, obviously you're probably looking at expanding. You're already growing from, we called it like the 1 truck to if I'm going to get this right, the 5 truck. And now you got, 15 sets of legs moving stuff in theory, right, on many days. So it's like, that's fun.
Right now we're coming out of winter strong. Actually, we had a really strong winter to begin with. Obviously that's kind of your peak and valley, winter to summer for moving. Summer being the busier side, of course. But we had a strong winter. We kind of kept our vendor relationship strong to get us through. And so right now we're running 2 trucks, looking to push on the 3rd steady, but like if we can hit 4 or 5 in the summer, we will. And I think we'll be able to. Just need the staffing and ensuring we're continually recruiting and hiring for that. But when it comes to expansion of the storage facility too, we are pushing our fences back, adding a bunch more parking spots because we get requests for that daily that we send to some other providers because we're too full. So some extra parking spots. I don't know if we necessarily have plans to put in new like climatized or non-climatized storage units yet. We could probably just use the acquisition of Easy Store for that. But we are putting up a a giant warehouse for total moving and another business here. So that'll allow us to do some more crated storage along with just warehousing work for vendor clients. If we can get some bigger names and hold items from, that's huge for us. So that's coming.
That's awesome.
Big summer.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you know what? It just brought me back to one of the things that I was like thinking about is like I have trucks and stuff like that. And in your, your early 20s, everyone thinks that it's just like the easy move, grab the guy with the half ton, pay with beer, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And, but you're not taking into account, like the rain. I've done it, a number of times. You guys have big sealed in trucks. You're taking care of this stuff. You're taking care of the properties a little bit nicer than probably your, the friends. And maybe that's not the demographic anyways for you guys, but you're hitting everyone that's needing to move. If I needed someone to come help me do that, I would not be doing it myself anymore for sure. My sister's used movers a couple of times. She's out in Calgary, so it wasn't you guys, but there's, she's just like, yeah, no way. There's no way we're doing that. So you're taking that process all out of it, making it way easier for everyone, right?
We've definitely pushed some of our marketing material on the whole. Nobody wants beer and pizza. Like, come on. Everyone does it once. And like some of my friends too, like they've got the one or two that moved into their first new houses, like they got the help. And I think after that, everyone's pretty much done with it. Right. So depending on how big your group is, you only get like, if you're the first friend to get the help, you're good to go. Otherwise, you got to call TM here and get us preparing a quote for you.
Yeah, I was saying, what does that normally look like for people? Because I mean, like that's like an assumed cost on other people to come help you. You're doing them a favor. It's taking like their time, most importantly. You got like gas. You got to, what happens if, the friend like damages something? They're not trained professionals in this area. It's in good faith and everything, but things can go wrong there. And you guys have obviously like figured that out. What does that process look like when you go to quote someone? Not specific on any numbers, but just light rundown for the folks listening to understand more about what happens there.
For sure. Yeah. So we'll bring a client in, they're calling in, or they come through a connection of knowing me or one of my staff, right? Instantly, we recently, I guess it was January 1st, brought on a new software that we're using for our background. So CRM kind of thing, but specific to moving. So kind of benefited us being smaller to be able to bring something like this in. And we can put out a quote. If the customer has their information ready, like inventory stuff, it's not always top of mind for the customers, but if they have their stuff ready, we can get them a quote in a matter of like 5 minutes. And then if not, it takes them 30 minutes through an emailed inventory link that they run through their house and type in their inventory info. So very quick, it doesn't take long. And then what you're looking at with a quote with us is just an hourly rate. The nice thing about getting that inventory in is it allows us to establish a weight on their job. We tell every customer right off the hop, we're blunt with them and say, like, don't hide items from us. Like, let us know what you have. Obviously, we're going to show up to most jobs. They're going to have 5-10 extra items or boxes or whatever it might be. That's okay. That doesn't change things.
Yeah.
But once we establish that weight, we build out, our system automatically does it for us now, which saves us a lot of time. But it builds out the hours that it's going to take based on how many men we need for the job. And we edit it from there if we're thinking it's a little off in our system. And then from there, you're paying, for your hourly rates, an admin fee, just for us to get all this done, keep that system running, keep quotes coming out quick. Fuel surcharge, and then we sell valuation as well, which is insurance on top of, like, we're an insured company, but like it's kind of more if you get the scratch on your dresser or whatever, we want to make sure you're covered, give you an option to receive
for sure,
like, let's say $500 back on a dresser instead of 60, which is like the government standard they make us pay out. So
awesome. That sounds super easy. It's really cool. And I'm just going to like say this out loud in case someone doesn't know, because I was mentioning this the other day to someone about CRM, so customer relation management tool. And that sounds like a great thing for you. So I just wanted to say that because someone caught me the other day and I was speeding through. And what that does for a lot of folks is basically it's like an internal social media, but it's like locked in. I'm sure really break this down for someone who, if they don't know what that is. And then a company can have like a profile basically on you created on, if there's a quote given out, other things, you can manage that in different ways, and it allows people to communicate easily with that information. I think hopefully that's a quick recap. And it sounds like that one is really effective. So how much time does that CRM save you guys then? Versus like when you mentioned earlier in the conversation around being up to like 2 a.m. doing quotes. I've been there to like just do like law and like little relation there, but you're up late, you're kind of mathing it over. You're probably eyeballing it, frankly, in a lot of cases, right? Or going off what people said that they had. I don't even know what that used to look like, but now you've advanced obviously quite a bit.
Yeah, that was the big difference between us and a lot of moving companies in the city. Lots of them do establish a quote based on weight, or they establish a quote based on something.
Right.
But yeah, we never did the eyeballing, so that's why I would be up so late putting quotes
There
out
you
till
go.
I kind of got my ops manager Trent, who was actually quicker than me at them. What a
That's why you
lifesaver!
get really good people working with you, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
So he or what was I going to say here? It was nice because yeah, we've always established it based on weight. So I'd be up putting it into what we call a cube sheet, breaks everything
yeah,
down from like an item to a weight in pounds. Um, the time it saves us is probably now someone can go log onto our website. Essentially, the quickest way to do it is you put in your info. It sends us all your general move info. And the second you put in that submit a quote request from our website, it sends you that inventory link. So essentially, if someone was doing this at midnight, they wanted to plan their move, it just popped into their head when they're falling asleep, they could have all the info to us by 1 p.m. or 12:30, and we could go in and have that quote done in 2 minutes in the office. So compared to,
awesome.
I would say in general, like on the average quote it would take us, if we were really like persistent with the customer, they were answering our calls back and forth, it would take us an hour to put together a quote previously, maybe
Yeah,
half an hour depending on the job.
awesome.
So to take that from an hour or 30 minutes to essentially 5, if things are done proper and quick, it's a huge lifesaver.
That's great. It sounds like that's like an easy way to communicate with folks too. Ultimately, I'm sure that there's like a dialogue there where it sends them some kind of feedback uh, shortly after having that quote. Then they know,
Yep.
and then after that, then you guys are making a decision for um, when the crew can go out there, do that for them.
Yep.
What's the most common? Like, I mean, obviously we're working with like uh, building managers. A lot of the time, that's people moving in and out of places. Is that the most common? And I'm assuming like building managers, apartments in the city and stuff. And then you mentioned like old folks home. There's lots of partnerships happening there. But what do you see most people use then like the storage side of your business for? Because we talked about like the moving a little bit more, but what do people store with you guys? I guess you don't always know all the ins and outs of what's in there, but like trying like
It's
between yeah.
typically residential. That's a good question. It's typically just like residential furniture. Lots of people will use our non-climate controlled units are essentially like a bit better than a garage, right? They're not heated, so people will
Right.
like if they run out of shed space in their backyard, run out of garage space, like that kind of becomes their second garage, like. So that's often what the NCCs are used for, non-climate controlled units. And then our climate controlled units, NCCs and CCs.
Yeah, there you go. We broke. Yeah,
Make
now
it
I
quick,
know.
abbreviate it all.
Yeah,
The climate controlled units are more primarily used for like, if anybody's going to be putting in wood furniture, your couches, even just boxes with like paperwork, you're going to get moisture buildup in the non-climate controlled units. So those climate controlled ones save that. You're not getting wood expansion if you're leaving it in there for 2 or 3 season changes, right? Like that's inevitably going to happen. There's a little bit of onus on the customer there too, because like we can't, if we're not moving it in, we don't know what is going in. And even on our move, sometimes the customer will not want to hop in and pay the extra little fee for the climate controlled, despite how many warnings we put in and put out to them. Sorry. And, that's fair enough, I guess. But in some cases, they end up with no problems, and other times there's expansion of the wood, like I said, or you get a little bit of like molding and whatnot. Some of it can be cleaned and it's good, but that's things we're always advising against. But kind of the difference between the two.
What's good to know. I mean, like, business is never perfect. You
Yeah.
can claim it like even on like 99 good Google reviews, and someone will be unhappy about an actually pretty good move.
Mhm.
I've got some like pretty good reviews on situations that started off less good or less favorable, but depends who you have on the other end of that and what kind of emotions they have going on in terms of the reflection of that review. Ultimately, it's good to know that though too, Colby. It sounds like you guys got a good way of managing situations, and you've seen enough of them now, especially if you have 450, you got folks moving in and out at this stage. And then how many years have you guys been doing this for? I didn't ask that yet.
The storage facility's been open for over 10 now, I guess, probably pushing 11 or 12, because I know it's a 10-year anniversary, whenever that was. Time's moving too quick. That could be 2 years ago now, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
But so over 10 years for the storage facility itself in Headingley. Total Moving's been in operation for pushing 3 now. Wow, that's crazy. That's kind of crazy to think. So yeah, I guess January 2021 is when we were in operation as a company, and we did some like smaller stuff through Total Storage before that. So yeah, pushing 3 years. And then Easy Store we just took over in March. So learning curve there for sure, but it's going well.
Yeah, well, you know what? Well, great segue, because that was my next thing was to actually ask about that in general. I was curious to have that like noted. And here is like, yeah, so what's going on there? I've seen some posts about it. I don't know enough about it. Tell me more. Tell the listeners know it.
Seemed like it's another kind of like seamless connection between companies, right? Portable storage. We figured we'd add it to storage facility and moving. Working with lots of like restoration companies around the city, working with just general clients that are renovating their homes. We come drop it right off. Drop off a 12 or 16 foot pod with our truck there. Can sit right on your driveway, chalk it up, make sure it's not going to be rolling away on you or anything of the sort. And yeah, they're beneficial for that kind of stuff. People kind of tend to forget about them a little bit on their properties at times. Becomes just an extra set of storage space, right? Same kind of thing I was mentioning with the non-climate controlled units. It's go open the door and you have a second garage right on your driveway. Lots of the guys love that, as do the females as well.
Yeah. What's so I mean, that sounds like a great thing for what you talk about, like restorations. So you're doing like a reno in your house and you don't want to like have the stuff in the house when the reno's going on. I've been there before. Stuff gets dusty. As much as you try to wrap that stuff up, it's like I'm thinking kitchen reno. I'm thinking, you're moving a wall, you're taking off the stucco. I mean, you can see the stucco in my house here. It's something that's, not as in anymore. People are trying to like do that stuff. How long do people have to commit to renting these things for? What does it normally look like? And paint that scenario for me here, because I think it's a great use case for folks to save themselves some heartache on damaging things that are already in their house.
Right.
As far as like that part of it goes.
Yeah. No, we that's definitely what they're great for, right? Like, so yeah, save you some dust, and then also just equipment for the people doing the renos as well, right? If they don't want to keep it inside the house, it's a big thing now. I think for these restoration and even just contractors and whatnot is cleaning up daily after they head out of these sites, right? People want a nice clean place to look at, even as it's being worked on. When it comes to our rentals, you can rent our units. We do run weekly at minimum, but there's weekly rates of I don't even think they push the $100 doesn't push $100 for a week, so that's good. And then our rates stay under. Kind of do a hotel pricing model with it, because if we're running out of 16 footers, of course we're going to charge more for supply and demand, right? So they don't really push over $300 a month, and typically you're looking more at the $200 number for a 16 footer, and then like 150 to the 250 mark for a 12 footer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of how the pricing works for it, and typically we're renting on a monthly rate. Because if you do pay for that weekly rate, you can find yourself a deal on a week or two, and then obviously if you're running a weekly rate, it starts to charge you more. Once you have it sitting there for a month, it's just, again, wouldn't make sense that's not to do that.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's super reasonable though, and I don't know for anyone listening that's ever done a reno themselves or looking to do it. I have yet to see a reno like be completely seamless for time. There's usually something, regardless of like a supply chain issue. You're doing a reno in a house and it's the first time you've torn out the floor or whatever. You got to replace other boards. There's always something that happens. It's not to say like you just got to be like aware of that. So doing like the week thing, I think that's like a minimum that I don't think anyone finishes stuff in a weekend anymore. I think that's a great adage to have in there.
For sure. So. Yeah. The week minimum, I can't think of one popular drop where, we do some work with some businesses around the city where I guess like a festival is still even over a week, but we drop some. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say we worked with them because we technically took it over right after festival ended. But Festival de Voyageur, we go drop them off. I think that's like a week and a half event or 2 week event. And they just run weekly rates, and it all works out well there. So, there are occasions where it does kind of stay under the month, and that weekly rate becomes good, or maybe even someone could use it for a day or two. But of course, we just need to make it worth it to drop it off, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And these, you must get a lot of work, or some work anyways, and like businesses are going through like a reno or something happens there too. Like you mentioned, like restoration, I could see like a bunch of
Mhm.
uses for these storage, and they lock up safe. I didn't even ask you about that. It's just an assumption that these things, you know, they're lockable. You can
Yep.
leave them safe knowing that the stuff's all secure in them there. I think that's such a great thing. There's you know, something else that came to mind. This is nothing that's been in here. I saw a photo the day of you. You're doing some work with this project. I don't know enough about it, but I've seen a couple posts about it now. It's in a similar park there, and I saw some photos. Is there much to chat on there? You guys are involved with helping out that project there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not. I'm always, I guess, I'm cautious with charities, just on how much I can say, especially with
Yeah,
them.
no, for
They're
sure.
working with children that have gone through quite a bit, but they're a great organization, Toba Center. There,
Yep.
they're building a new building, which they much deserve, and they're doing what they're doing for the city is it's special. It's going to help build our youth in a more proper way. They're getting children out of stressful and tough situations in areas within the city and bringing them
Yeah,
into a place that's accommodating where they can have, whether it's working with police, whether it's working with any kind of social service that they may need in the city.
for sure.
They're providing it at one location in a safe space for these children. So hopefully I did a good enough job there pushing what
No,
they
no,
are
no.
doing. But
I do. I should make more heads up there. I know a little bit what's going on from one of their, I call it like main contributors. And I just remembered I'd seen that as we were chatting here. I'm like, I got to ask you about that because I'm sure you guys are
yeah,
involved, and it's always great to see. We'll talk about it in a future podcast too when that project's complete. We can
yeah,
chat a little bit more about your involvement, but obviously you guys are spending time back in the community that you're working
yeah.
in huge positive ways. Is there anything else that you guys are working on right now? Not that that isn't like a great enough cause as is, but
No,
what else are you guys touching in Winnipeg?
no, we work with multiple charities. Toba Center is a big one for us. I guess they're a charity that reaches out lots, right? So like,
Yeah.
should be no need of feeling I don't know, like you're asking too much. I guess like we're here and we want to help. Sorry. So with them, I honestly kind of wish we did even more, but we're providing them a storage unit on site here. We've done a few different moving items for them, of course, and they throw the best golf tournament, I think, every summer. So of course, we're there
Awesome.
as well. But yeah, we're working with them. We work with other charities, Manitoba Mutts, Darcy's Ark. I don't want to miss any here. Make a Wish.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no.
No,
If you
no,
do,
you're
well,
good. I should have wrote them down. Make a
sorry, I
Wish.
should. Yeah.
No, and then we do a little bit of work with Dream Factory as well, but we do something really
Awesome.
cool with Make a Wish called Trees of Joy
Okay.
through Christmas. I know Christmas is on no one's mind right now going into summer, but if
Yeah.
businesses ever wanted to reach out, they could reach out to me through that as well, or for that as well. Basically, what we're doing is we're setting up something at the Delta Hotel. It was amazing. Bunch of Make a Wish children come in. Companies come in, take a day off work, get out of the office. We do it as well with our office staff, decorate some trees
awesome.
up. And then each tree is the equivalent of granting a kid's wish. So then what Total Moving does after is they come in, light up the trees, sit with Santa for a bit. The kids have lunch with the office or business they're associated with. And then Total Moving's going, taking the trees and running them all to the different houses across Winnipeg for the children they've helped out. So
Oh man,
that's
isn't that
it.
great?
We love that stuff. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to get our Christmas is a big time where you want to be feeling those kind of emotions and everything too. And it's a great thing to get our staff out and have them enjoying well, also, helping out in the community for sure.
That's huge. Sorry, no, I definitely put you on the spot on that one.
Yeah, I think
I was just like,
right.
you know what? I was like, yeah, you nailed it. Hopefully, you didn't miss anyone because I've been in those spots too where you're like, I don't know, you're listing off and you're like, I hope I got everyone.
I think
if
we're
you
good.
Colby thinks you got everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the major ones. We've done plenty of work with like more minor charities, minor work with charities, such as like Open Access. It's the only one I can rattle off that we've kind of just helped out a little bit. But
we've been in the business for about a dozen years. I'm sure the memories may be shot after moving that many folks around and storing their stuff. So
yeah,
I think you nailed it. I think that's a great cause too. Like I said, I've kind of touched on that a little bit. It would be hopefully another conversation to get to have on the cast in the future to chat more about that. I think that's just awesome. And,
more companies should, like it's you never go into a charitable effort like looking for what might come from it, right? But the people that run these charities are awesome. There's always word of mouth going out there too. And yeah, I mean, like we've had tons of business that comes from our charitable efforts. So when you see that, it makes you just want to do it more, right? Knowing you're helping out and then knowing it might benefit your business as well. It's massive. If any companies aren't doing much charitable work, they shop in, start doing it. It's great.
No, it is. There's well, actually, someone from our business group will still keep it focused on you, but they were part of a charity, and they always mentioned, you know, like the giving back feeling as part of like their pitch. And for those who maybe some folks in there hadn't spent as much time doing that. You know, I've had the great pleasure of you know, being humbled a couple of times, going and working at like soup kitchens and other stuff like that, and or raising money where you get to drop off the check off the efforts, and there's no better feeling than that in many ways. And if you can do it with your company, and it sounds like you guys are doing lots. It's not just one; you're doing like several. You listed off like a bunch of stuff there, whether it be dogs, you're helping youth, and you know, that's just great to hear, man. That's what's I think we nailed the whole thing already. But is there anything else that you want to chat about today? I had a couple little things to go on, and not to put like pressure on there. But is there anything that's, you know, want to make this a great asset to share with people and get to know you a little bit better in your business? So is there anything that we missed from our end?
Maybe dive into like the question 3 there on misconceptions, and also I'll touch on marketing a little bit, and then we'll finish it off there.
Okay.
Got some answers for you, man.
Let's do it.
Keep it rolling. We'll just retake right now.
Yeah, take 2, or we'll just leave it in. People will just okay, all right. These people are
we're on the ball. We're good. We're planning this.
Number very type A. There's so as we're talking about here, what's a misconception in your business, Colby, that folks like, you know, I see some businesses sometimes and I look at them, I make assumptions, and then after using the service or going in there with one angle, not necessarily negative, just a different thing, and I go in there and I find out that they do all this other stuff and it's really streamlined, and I've assumed wrong walking in about the services or the products that are provided there. What's something like that you guys experience?
I think there's just a lot of like overall misconceptions of the industry in general, right? Like people are often surprised. Again, we keep a younger staff, so I think lots of people, they have this idea of, I'm hiring a moving company. Like lots of just have this built up idea that something's going to go wrong, or that there's going to be, I hate to say it this way, but sometimes that there's going to be ex-convicts showing up to their door and stealing their stuff and all that. And like, that's not just our moving company. Majority of the moving companies in the city, you're good to go. And ex-convicts that do work in the industry, they're nice people trying to turn their life around too, you know. So for the most part,
you know what, totally nailed it. I've done some work with folks, like we'll call it, in that I've had those life experiences, unfortunately, where I'm put in those positions, and it's just like, yeah, you can't keep doing. You know, I think it's the movies. I was just gonna say, I feel like there must be something, because like I feel like we all do have like that. I have like a painted picture in my mind even as you're saying that, and I'm like, after hearing how, like, you know, sister company moved out in Calgary and everything that I've heard from reviews from your company, I just haven't moved. Otherwise I'd have one. But like, just really,
why aren't you using us, Steven?
I gotta move, man.
Get out of that place you're in. Find a new one.
Gotta.
No, for sure. I mean, like there is run and gun. You do have to be careful in the industry. Like you'll go on lots of, if I could recommend to clients looking, you'll go on lots of Google search pages, especially in bigger cities. And if you just type in best mover Winnipeg, you're going to get sent to a link that's going to, they're building leads for other moving companies, right? So instead of doing that, find a company with good reviews, find a company that you call and like they listen to what you're saying. They're having a good talk with you on the phone. When you call these moving companies, whether it's us or whoever, ask them what's going to happen if they make a mistake or make a damage. No company's perfect, especially in the moving industry. We make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's about how you handle them after. And if they stutter and they don't know what they're you
nailed it. That's so true. If you don't have a plan for that stuff, it's like you haven't obviously probably done enough work to understand that like stuff does go wrong. That's one of the huge red flags for me when I'm doing like business and someone's like, oh, nothing goes wrong. It's like,
exactly.
In America, it's seen
they probably have a lot going wrong in that case then, right? But yeah, those are the kind of questions you want to ask and the things you want to look for. Like ensure the reviews are good. That's your first thing to look at, right? They tell you all the reputable moving companies around the city have good reviews on Google. And then like that's a big thing too. Put them on the spot. ask them about their quotes, ask them about their personnel, their staffing, where they're getting people from, ask them what they're going to do with damages and mistakes that are made on the job and how it's taken care of. And yeah, that's how we take care of that stuff. We use valuation or insurance. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love to hear. No, it's just like even like coaching people on how to do that, whether it be using you guys, or we'll call it like what it is, but a competitor, someone else in your space. I even like shy away from using that word, because there's abundance out there. There's enough people moving, for everyone, and you can't just have. I mean, as much as it would be like, I'm sure very like awesome and like the plan to like take over like Winnipeg moving as a whole, but there's always got to be someone else coming up and going through that cycle themselves, because business, as you just mentioned, the evolution of you guys, like you're doing storage and moving, you're doing a lot of stuff, and you're not going to be a perfect fit for everyone. Now, maybe it's a location thing. If they're way out somewhere, it's a little bit further. Not in Winnipeg specific. Manitoba's got to have multiple companies doing that stuff. In terms of that, right? So it's a more holistic approach to business, is to be real with people. So
to touch on that quick, you're absolutely right. Like, it'd be awesome to become the biggest moving company in Winnipeg and kind of run the market and everything, but we already work with 5 or 6 other guys that I can kind of look at certain jobs and specify like which company would be best to take over a job we can't take on ourselves, as other movers do for us in the city as well. And like, whether it's your short lines, Calculated, Go Getter, Winnipeg Moving, they're all good. Like, I can rattle off a bunch of them. A few of us meet together monthly too, and are working on just establishing proper rates and making sure that
for sure
we're working together to grow the industry in Winnipeg, because ultimately it's about changing the label that was built around it whenever that label was built.
Yeah, like I think we gotta like go back. We're both gonna like watch a movie one day. It's gonna be like a throwback from like the 80s or 70s, and it's gonna have like this visual cue that apparently like sticks in our mind, because it's a weird thing. Even when you're saying it, I'm just like, yeah, that for some reason that sticks in my head, and I have no idea why. But everything's kind of changed. Even the way that we talk about competition, from like, I'll call it the salespeople of the 80s. It was like literally bash your competition as hard as possible.
Yeah.
And now we look at businesses way different. It's like, hey, they do this great, or whatever. They might not do this other stuff. Like, you guys have like advanced like your tech, other stuff like within the business that probably puts you ahead. But it's not to say that someone else isn't doing something right as well. And something that you guys nailed down, I want to chat about, is the marketing with you guys. And we kind of opened up, danced around it a little bit earlier, but like, what's going on there with you guys? What do you guys put in? What do you guys like get out of that? Because you guys probably already have like a good customer base, right? Like, you got like word of mouth going for you guys, and that in my mind it too. Like, it exceeds. I work in marketing most of the day, but it's like, like, what's going on there? To tell me more about that part of the biz.
Yeah, biggest thing for me when it comes to our marketing, well, first of all, credit to our marketing manager, Colin. He's been one of my best friends for forever. Yeah, Colin's the man. He'll listen to this and he'll be pumped. But yeah, he's one of my best friends for forever. But like, he manages everything on that end, and he's awesome. So like, that's kind of takes it off my plate a little bit, but still keeps things looking good and exactly how I want them. So he probably gets a little annoyed with me sometimes, just getting him to do all the work. But praise that guy. But yeah, no, it's huge for us. I think it's more about building a sense. You need to build a sense of community online now, right? I think people can generally look at our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, even just what we throw into Google and whatnot, LinkedIn sometimes, and they can have a level of trust with us right off the hop, right? Like, not many moving companies or these industries where things can go pretty wrong pretty easily, to be blunt and honest, are putting themselves out there to have the angry customers go into the comments on a funny video of them building a sense of community and get mad at them, right? So we don't have that. We've been around for a while. We don't have it yet, and I'm hoping we don't. And yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it, building a sense of community. We're always marketing through Google. Just trying to have fun with it. It's good for our staff too. Like, you want your staff to see that, right? Instead of like, everyone's on social media. Again, us younger staffing, we want them to want to share the posts that we're posting on social media. We want them to be in the videos and like that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Can't always pay them as actors, but I mean, if I could, I would. You'll see, we got some. we got some content coming out with the movers coming up, and it was pretty funny. They do a better job behind the camera than me, so it's a little embarrassing. I'm 15 take Colby. It sucks.
That's awesome though. No, well, you're right. You definitely got to do that. You got to throw yourself out there because ultimately it's a fast paced world, and you got to build like trust with folks in different ways because, and tell your own story, your own version of your story is really important to share too, because, marketing in-house is done well, has done really, wonders for businesses out there. So that's great to see, just
stepping outside the box in general, right? Like your business, if you want your business to be like everyone else's, you do the same thing everyone else is doing, right? Yeah. If you want your business to succeed and grow bigger than everybody else's around you, if that's the main goal, or just to be different, you got to step outside the box, right? Like businesses flatline if they're doing the same thing as everyone else, and they, it ends up just kind of, I don't know. I think that it's helped our trajectory as a company, definitely being on social media, putting out our Moving Mondays. If anybody watching hasn't watched those, go give them a watch. Some of them are funny, some of them are educational, some of them are sales pitches. I won't lie to you. But,
no, for sure. Well, that's education on its own, right? Because you don't start it out. You can only give back so much, but ultimately you're doing this to put food on your own table and be a successful business too, while offering an upside of someone, to have their move taken care of by you guys. So it's a trade of services. This has been happening for many years. It's got to be part of it.
That's right.
You can't just do that's awesome, Colby. It's great to chat with you here today. I have one final high pressure question for you. And it's going to be the first. I know that it's nothing too crazy. What's your favorite pizza place to go to in Winnipeg?
They built such a big brand, so I feel lame. This is a very high pressure question. This is not on the paperwork, Steven.
I know. Hey, well, listen, we got to surprise them a little bit. We get the.
No, I'm just joking. The one question not on there. I mean, we run and gun lots of it, but man, I'm a little Pizza Heaven guy. You get the little Pizza Heaven tomato feta going. Oh, there's nothing better than that.
That's it. That combo is great in many situations. I love it. That's your favorite pizza here, and I appreciate you taking time out of the day to join us on a podcast. This is our first episode. Will be launched soon. We appreciate the listeners, and always we really appreciate your energy, and we hope to chat again in the future and have an update with you. So thanks so much for being on with us today.
Thanks for having me, man. You're gonna do well with it, Steven. Just your drive and the way you work on the things that you're working on. It's a great hype up speech here, eh? The work you put in, you'll do well with it, man. I'm excited to see where it goes. Excited to see the guests that come, and excited to be in the in-person sit down once you get it set up.
Yes.
Awesome, buddy.
I am too. Awesome. Thanks, Colby. We'll chat with you soon.
Man.